What if I told you there was a James family member that wasn't great at basketball? Like, he wasn't trash, he was just okay. He was super mid. Would you believe me? Because we've seen a lot of James family members that started off bad and ended up great. For instance, Ethan Lane. But this series is about a player that has the name that tells so much about the way he plays. His name is LeBrick James. Now, some of you have heard his name mentioned before years ago, and we finally have a chance to tell his story. We need to visit the family tree to explain this one. So as you can tell, we have covered majority of the family coming from LeGoat and La Capella, but there are some unnamed family members whose children were Lil Flip Flop, you know, Pastor Cornelius, and basketball wasn't their sport. There are family members who are great at football, tennis, soccer, you name it, and we'll get into that soon. But because the family was basketball dominant, you have family members like LeBrick who comes around and things get wicked. Now, as you may know from the La Capella story, the James family pretty much ran the hood. There was a cousin who ran part of that hood heavy back in the day, and her name is LaWanda James. She was the I don't need a man type to survive, and she kept that same energy even when she got pregnant. She went on to have her son, who she wanted to be a basketball player, and per the James family naming ritual, the elder named him LeBrick. Now, as crazy as that sounds, she still pushed for little man to play basketball, and when I say he was trash, he was trash. Now, off the court, LeBrick was a hood star. You know, his mom let him do whatever he wanted. Long story short, he was super spoiled. He didn't grow up rich, but he always found a way to make some money. You could say a lot about LeBrick, but one thing you couldn't say was he was broke. Like I told y'all, the James family really ran the hood from all aspects, and LeBrick kept the family tradition going. He was considered the muscle of the streets due to his body composition and his height at a young age, which made him look like he was much older than he really was. Running fades was his claim to fame because no one could beat him, but this would ultimately lead him to getting into trouble, and he got in trouble often. Now, around this time when he was really popular in the streets, he had put down the basketball. That is, until he got his second strike and was sent to juvie.
This is the last time I'm bailing you out of jail, son. We gotta find something else for you to do, cause this ain't it.
I mean, what else you want me to do? I'm just trying to hold the streets down.
Baby, you're only 14 years old. You're not supposed to be out here running the streets, and I know this is my fault, so I'm gonna fix it.
What you mean you gonna fix it?
I'm not gonna let you sit around and ruin your life.
I'm not ruining my life, Mom. You seen this all your life.
And as I've seen all my life, you get the book thrown at you, it's over. You're not coming back.
Well, I don't know what you want me to do.
Don't worry about it. I know exactly what to do.
LaWanda's idea would be the one thing that eventually changed LeBrick's life for the time being, which was to send him away from the streets and move him up to the hills where he would attend a new school, a smaller Catholic school. With his mama still holding on to her hoop dreams for him and her dreams of getting him off the streets, he was put on the junior varsity team, which leads us to his 10th grade year. So growing up, LeBrick was always the tallest and most athletic in his grade. That year, he was standing at 6'3", and everyone around him jumped up in height while he stayed the same. Not being able to grasp all of the skills he needed to be a guard, his coaches decided to leave him at center. With his broad shoulders and strength, coaches decided to use that as an advantage down low. Now, I know I said his skills were trash, but his aggressiveness and jumping ability really made him stand out. He was really known for his blocking and rebounding and the occasional dunks when he can get one off. That season on JV, LeBrick would get a lot of playing time, but would only manage to average 1.5 points per game, 7.5 rebounds, and 1.9 blocks, which I know sounds low to some, but remember, this isn't the NBA, this is junior varsity basketball, and the talent that the teams were facing was fairly good. With those numbers, LeBrick was looking to take his talents to the varsity team his 11th grade year. Unfortunately for him, there was already a big dog at the center position by the name of Sidney Bridgers, but it also didn't help. LeBrick was still 6'3", but he was looking to provide some valuable minutes off the bench when he could. First game of the season was an absolute blowout, as in LeBrick's team was slaughtered. With his limited time on the court, he did get up some attempts, and he saw the free throw line a lot, which to everyone's surprise, he made a couple. Although the team lost, he brought in an L on the bench with 3 points and 6 rebounds. Now fast forward to a rival game against South Shore. LeBrick really came out of his shell trying to put on a show. Now this was a big deal because South Shore had a giant at center by the name of Donovan Jenkins that towered over LeBrick, standing 7'1". But Brick wasn't no punk and he wasn't backing down. But don't get it twisted, neither was Donovan. Any chance he got to punish Brick, he did, and he did it effortlessly. But the best part was when Donovan thought he had an easy shot over Brick. Listen, bro jumped as high as he could and actually blocked the shot, which sent the crowd in a frenzy. At this point in the season, no one had seen Donovan get shut down like that, and LeBrick was the first to do it. But that was our first glimpse at LeBrick's athleticism that really caught people's attention. Finishing the game with a loss, but he dominated with his time on the court with 8 points and 12 rebounds. But to be honest, around this time, LeBrick couldn't care less about basketball. You know what I'm saying? He was into the ladies. You feel me? He was a ladies man. I mean, he spent a lot of time talking to girls, constantly showing up late to practices, like almost to the point where he showed up at the end of practice or even missed a practice, falling asleep in class. I don't even have to say it, but the boy was failing almost every class he had. You name it. Whatever it took to get sent to the principal's office, he was into it. Things had gotten so bad, he was actually kicked off the team for the rest of the season. And now with basketball out of the way, LeBrick was happy to have more time to screw up, which not only landed him off the team, but this time back home expelled from school.
Brick, I thought you got shipped off. What the hell you doing back on the block?
Got kicked out of school, so here I am.
Damn, little homie, you was giving no folks problems like that?
I mean, I wasn't doing nothing I normally wouldn't do.
I'ma be real with you, cause that's the only way I know how. You breaking your mom's heart doing all this shit, you know that, right? I mean, she doing all this to keep you alive, wanting you to actually be something, and you doing everything you can to end up right back here. Why you not hooping?
What you mean?
Look, I know your family is a lot to live up to, and you don't have all the skills compared to your cousins, but you still a James.
That's what I'm saying, but I still don't get no burn for real.
You just gotta keep fighting for it. It's not gonna come easy for you.
So what I'm supposed to do?
Figure this shit out before you go from being my favorite little homie to the dead little homie. Ain't nothing around here for you but trouble. Look, I'ma do you a favor and link you up with a homie of mine that has a team that constantly gets invited to EYBL. That way you can get some scouts looking your way.
And with that, LeBrick called the coach, and that's when things really started to go up for him. He actually attended the tryouts where he showed flashes of greatness. I mean, it wasn't a lot, but it was enough to secure him a spot on the team. Not only that, but a starter for the team. Coming in as a no-name undersized center with the buzz of who he was related to actually got more people than he thought interested. Not only that, but LeBrick had a chance to catch some eyes against the 7'2", #1 high school center, Jeffrey Hammonds. Yes, sir. We here. We got my boy Jeff, a 5-star, 7'2", 17-year-old chat. What are we doing? But you got to sing it for the one time. Jump ball. Get it. Oh, Lord. Let's go get into it, man. EYBL competition right here with my man. Hold on. Big Brick standing on business, taking it to these boys. And listen, Jeffrey Hammonds, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with him, bro. He's 7'2", Brick is 6'3", undersized, strong, big, strong boy. You see him, don't you, chat? And Jeffrey dropping the points on us quickly, quietly, and holy, you know what I mean? And another jumper right there for Jeff. And it's not looking good for Brick. Jeff gets away from it. Oh my gosh. Punishment, and he's got his tape. And chat, I hope you like the way I'm doing this story. It's a little different from my hold on, Andy 1 and 1. It's a little different from the NCAA ones. That's coming back. But if you don't know what's going on with my computer, man, make sure you guys check out the community tab so you guys know. But right now, I'm just giving you guys some more LeBrick James. As promised, I'm trying to make it do what I can do with what I can do it with. Oh, wait, you feel me? Getting a block right there. And these boys are actually losing by 14. Jeff with the ball. Oh, my goodness. Just taking it right over Brick. And listen, we trying to play defense. He's got 17 punts and 13 boards already. Brick has 7 points and 10 boards. And look at the move right there from our guard. This EYBL scene is nothing to laugh at. It's nothing to joke about. And look at Jeffrey just shooting over the top of him. We need a timeout. Yes, Lord. Because it's getting crucial. Jeffrey again with the bucket. And Brick's got to find a way to stop this young man. There's too many scouts out here. Too many eyes on the #1 player in high school right now. And Brick is not really doing too much. Now, never mind all the boards that I get. You know what I mean? You know, it's a lot of time in these games, and I'm not going to not get the boards. You feel me? And what I'm also not going to not get is these blocks. Wait a minute, Brick. Hold us down on the defensive end. You love to see it. We had to run it back just so you can see it again. But Brick chasing that man down, and that's what I love about Brick. He might be undersized, he might be short, but he's quick, he's athletic, he's agile. You know what I mean? He can jump to the moon, just like all the James family members can do that. Pump fake, got him out of his draws. A nice little bucket right there. We actually get a double-double, but Jeffrey outperformed us in every single way you can imagine. The young man had 25 points and 28 boards, 3 blocks, and 2 steals. Brick, though, 13 points, 18 boards, and 3 blocks as well. Great competition in the EYBL. That was a tough loss for LeBrick, especially spending the last few seconds on the bench. He was feeling pretty down. Good news is the coach checked back in with him to let him know some schools were actually speaking with him about LeBrick and what he thought about him. Seeing his athleticism and his ability to try and hang with 7-footers was amazing to them, especially for his size. The coach let LeBrick know that he talked highly about him, and not to be surprised if coaches started to reach out to him soon. Teams like Alabama State, JSU, and Tennessee State were all in attendance and had eyes on LeBrick. At this moment, LeBrick started to take this serious. If there was a chance at the next level, he wanted to give it his all. He asked his coach what was the best way to attack bigger players at his height, and his coach told him the best way to do it was to put his head down and just simply attack, which leads us to this next EYBL game against another 7-footer, and LeBrick came out in rare form. And listen, Jeremy Mullins is another dog that we cannot play with. Listen, Jeffrey was #1, this is #2, easily, you feel me? But look at the strong take. Listening to the advice from his AAU coach, his EYBL coach, letting him know just attack, and it actually worked later on as we get deeper into the game. But you see, Jeremy ain't no joke either. He's no slouch. Big dunk right there. Hold on, Brick. I like that. Showing off that leaping ability, and he's got to do that. He's got to take advantage of his opportunity. And listen, 7 foot 6'3" is crazy, brother. It's really crazy, but my man is going to use his advantage to his advantage. You feel me? He's got the speed, he's got the strength, he's got the leaping ability. Look at the Antoine Antoine. He's too strong down there. You know what I mean? If there ain't no 7-footers down there, it's free reign. And that's what I'm talking about. Look at another Antoine Antoine off the air ball. And this is exactly what I was mentioning earlier. We got my man Jeremy in foul trouble. So Mr. Mullins is on the bench right now as we try our best to turn up, getting another board. That's another double-double in an EYBL game for Brick, and he's going to throw it down, hanging on that rim, showing off a little bit for the scouts who interested. You feel me? If you're going to take a chance, you got to take a chance on him. Great block, fast forward on the other end, getting another rebound. Should have been another Antoine Antoine, but we'll take the 2 points. You know what I mean? The beggars can't be choosy, and Jeremy is back in the game, showing his dominance, literally trying to get Brick in foul trouble the same way that he is. Look at the fast movement. His defensive consistency, brother, it's got to be studied. You know what I mean? The skill might not be there dribbling wise and whatnot, but look at the block. Look at the athletic ability from LeBrick. And trust me, he is a James through and through. And if you don't believe me, check this out. Crazy little putback right there from Jeremy, and I'm liking what I'm seeing. We got another defensive guy. Lee, sent that to Uganda. Oh, What a performance from LeBrick and the squad to pull out that type of victory. Even though it wasn't a great team, it was still EYBL, and LeBrick was standing on business. A few more colleges were tapped into the game. Some of the schools were Bethune-Cookman, South Carolina State, Florida A&M, Grambling State, Alabama A&M, and Texas Southern. LeBrick had finally went from a no-name talent to a 2-star prospect and was actually gaining some interest from colleges genuinely interested in what type of player he really was. He was actually invested in his own career, and his mama was proud of her baby. She always believed in him, and it was finally seeming as if he was playing basketball for himself. This is the tale of LeBrick James. This year was going to be a defining moment for LeBrick. After coming off a great summer in EYBL, getting some D1 looks, it was looking like the only way for Brick to go was up from here. He was back home putting in some work with LeBrick James, a cousin known for his shooting ability, and hopefully during this time he would be able to work on his shot, or at least that's what was supposed to happen. When I tell you a name sticks in this family, bro, it sticks. As many shots as he was getting up was as many as he was bricking. Thank God for family, because if this was anyone else training Brick, I'm sure they would have given up by now. Not only was he not improving on his shot, he was constantly being reminded that if he didn't develop a shot, there realistically might not be a chance for him to make it in the league. That is, if he wanted to go. Fast forward to his senior year, and LeBrick was about to step into a role that he might not be prepared for. The player that was in front of him for the starting position had just transferred out of the school for a better opportunity to raise his ranking, which meant that Brick was now the starting center for his high school. Talk about being thrown in the fire. With no confidence in his shot, Brick was starting to feel the pressure of his spot on his team.
Brick, let me talk to you for a minute, baby.
What up, coach?
You worry, and I can see the concern on your face, and I just wanted to say you got this.
I hear you, coach.
No, son, I need you to understand that there is no expectations from you. I know your last name carries a lot of weight, but right now, this season, I just need you to be the best you can be. Everything else will fall into place.
I understand.
Now, from what I've been hearing, you already got people looking at you from your performance this summer, which means all you got to do now is go out there and keep playing the way you've been playing, and you'll get those scholarships.
For sure.
Keep your head up, son, and get that confidence back. Only person that can stop you is you.
Let's go ahead and get into the season. A debut game as a senior in high school, Brick started off getting to the rim strong and finding ways to attack taller defenders. His athletic ability was being put on display for the view of the fans, getting to the line, catching free throws, grabbing boards. I mean, it looked like he was doing it all. There was one point in the game where the ball bounced off perfectly from the rim, and Brick took the opportunity to do a crazy reverse putback that shook the gym. Folks from both sides were off their feet as Brick did something that's not usually seen in a high school realm. Then to add to that, Brick caught the ball in stride and dunked on the other team's 7-footer. Not only that, he hung on the rim, and on the way down, patted dude on the head, ran off like he just didn't disrespect that man. Unfortunately, ended up taking the L in their season opener. To say that Brick was hurt from this loss was an understatement. Well, that next game came, and the team looked like there was no way they were going to lose this one. Brick was in rare form, getting tough boards, fighting for extra possessions, anything he could. Not only that, we started to see his agility around the rim, going 100% at any person that stood in front of him. This was definitely a team to beat, as they were a national team that seemed to make headlines every time they played. Brick, knowing this, he had to make every effort to be the headliner when the news reported back. Getting a tough and one towards the end of the game was the momentum boost that the team needed to close out the game. Huge congrats to this no-name team for pulling off the victory, especially after taking the L to a team they were supposed to beat. But the competition was getting steeper as the schedule was getting into more teams that really had future NBA players on the team. Needless to say, there just wasn't enough firepower on Brick's team to push past the power of the other team. But Brick had a standout performance, putting up a double-double, 10 points, 10 boards, as he continued to fight for his life down low against much taller players. The trick was, he was much quicker than the taller players. He was so fast on the fast breaks, he would fly down the court in transition, lay the ball up before his defender could recover. But yet again, this was another L on the season, and things were going downhill from here. Homecoming game against Gate City was about to be a movie, as this was the in-city rival and the players had been talking greasy about and to each other all week. In the streets and on the court, fights were about to break out over and over again. As far as Brick goes, you know he didn't want to lose this game. Any game but this one, because this was for all the bragging rights in the hood until the next game. And there was no next game for Brick. Immediately out of the gate, no pun intended, Brick is darting down the court, opening the game with a goal-shattering dunk. And he kept going up from there as he catches a body that made this rivalry almost end in a fight again. The way that gym was rocking after Brick put that man's head on his nuts is crazy. Quick releases at the rim, putting his team up by 10, had Brick turned because it was looking as if this team was about to dominate the rest of the game. And Brick had tunnel vision, bossing out yet another grown man for a board. Missed the first attempt, but got the ball back, pump fake, easy putback. Brick was cooking for the majority of the game. Unfortunately, that was going to end in another loss for the team. Man, tensions were high after that game, and things escalated quickly afterwards.
Tough loss, Brick, but you was hooping, bruh. You really trying to make something out of this, huh?
Hey, yo, my mama really wants this for me, so I'm just trying to make her proud, that's all.
But what about you? How you feel about it?
I mean, it could go either way for me. I don't really care.
Well, until you start caring about how things turn out for you, you're gonna stay where you at.
Yeah, well, I'ma head out.
Alright, bruh.
Hey, bro, Gay City and everything you niggas stand for, bro.
Oh, shit.
The niggas shooting!
Time was winding down for Brick, and the talk he had with his homeboy really stuck in his mind as the season progressed. He made every effort to try and go out and attack as much as he could to solidify whatever offers he would walk away with when it was time to sign. There was one thing he wanted to make sure that recruiters couldn't say he didn't do, and that was grab boards, create second chance points for the team and himself. That's all he wanted to focus on. Shooting was ultimately put on the back burner because at this point in his career, he wanted to prove he could be an asset for whatever team wanted to take a chance on him. Although the game was changing to a shooter's league, he knew that there was still some value to someone who could grab a board, create more opportunities when needed. His gritty, tough play would eventually land him his first official offer, and that was from Alabama State. He went to the campus, talked to the coaches, and he felt great. He finally felt as if this was something he could possibly do all the time. The only drawback was how far away from home the college was, and he didn't really want to leave his mom where she was. Then, to his surprise, he got another offer from Louisiana Tech. Now, this was a huge offer because we just saw an undersized player reach the NBA level and hold his own. Brick was excited about this, especially because the team had already seen a player his size, and he felt confident that they would be able to adapt to the player he is and not try to make him the player they wanted him to be. This was his second offer, and it was looking like he was going to accept this one. The next team to offer him a full scholarship was Bethune-Cookman. Not much really to say about the school, but he was happy nonetheless to get the offer. Now, the last and fourth school that jumped in my man's DMs was Texas Southern University, and they were giving Brick a chance to come in and make an immediate difference. The school was showing him everything as if he was already a member of the team. He felt at home in the Texas heat, and it wasn't too far away from home, and it was looking like this was the school that Brick wanted to attend. Finally, the end of the season, and with a few solid offers under Brick's belt and the conversations he had with his mother and the rest of the family, he looked like he was ready to make his decision. LeBrick had made up in his mind that he would in fact stay close to home as possible and attend Texas Southern University. And although there wasn't a big hype surrounding his name, the HBCU social media was happy about the signing. This would be the first time anyone from the James family would be attending an HBCU, and Brick coming in as a starter was going to make his debut all the more exciting. I'm not sure if y'all were excited about this upcoming season for LeBrick, but I definitely am. This was going to be a make or break moment for him as he was going to be put to the test his first year in college. Currently standing at 6'5" with no growth spurt in sight, Brick was looking to put on some more strength in the gym and find a way to become more athletic than he already was. Of course, Texas Southern wanted to help out any way they could, so with the help of the dietitian, he was able to hit his calorie intake along with his macros to ensure he was in ideal shape for the season. Let's fast forward, and it's time for LeBrick to grace the court and show us what type of work he had been putting in the gym, and let me tell you, he came out swinging. Season opener and debut game for LeBrick against Alabama State, a team that heavily recruited him, and he's coming out showing that crazy James family vert as he shuts down State's opening drive with a crazy block. Then we see Brick getting to the rim, hanging off, letting State know they fumbled the bag, not locking him in. Another block, and it was looking as if Brick was trying to be the defensive player of the year. But that weight room really came into play as he backs down his defender and puts that man in the rim. Like, damn, bro, this was just the first game of the year. I guess he was trying to set the tone for what he was on this season. But I guess we can't stay high forever as Brick comes down the court, bullying as usual. This time, the Alabama State player pushes back, and according to Brick, he heard something crack and he went down to the floor. There's no way this is happening so soon, but an injury right now just sets back everything he had worked so hard for in the offseason. The only thing we could do now is get some x-rays and see what the doctor had to say. It's never a good time when the season just starts and you're already at the hospital getting x-rays. Luckily for Brick, this visit was going to be short and sweet. The team doctor informed him and the team that it was only a wrist sprain, and with some patience and ice, he should be back within 1 to 2 weeks. Now, 1 to 2 weeks is a long time, especially when the season just started, but we all know it could have been a lot worse. Thankful, LeBrick headed back to his dorm, happy to know that it was only a minor setback for a major comeback. And bruh, did he ever come back? Starting this game against Jackson State the same way he did in the season opener with a crazy block. Not only that, my guy turned and looked at the bench, letting them know he was back. And it only got worse for Jackson State as LeBrick finds himself hammering down a lob, bodying a Jackson State player who went from unknown to being on ESPN top 10 highlights that night. Brick would continue his dominance down low, drop-stepping defenders who needed to get their bodies up. Then caught the same goofy lacking as he bodied him again on a nasty lob that got the few fans in attendance out their seats. If folks weren't tuned in to what Brick was doing out there, they soon would be, as he grabs a board and throws down a nasty flat-footed putback, letting his team know that he was the wrong one to mess with. Now, I don't know what came over Brick, but he was looking like a different animal. The focus was insane. The footwork was crazy as well as he makes defenders look foolish under the rim trying to control him. He was getting busy on the boards, racking up his first collegiate double-double, and the putbacks were making him look like a small Shaq out there. The work he had been putting in during the offseason was finally shown fully as he leads Texas to a win, grabbing 16 boards and scoring 16 points. What a way to officially start his career. And like I said, the bodies he caught tonight definitely got people's attention. And as long as he stayed consistent, the attention would as well. Now, as we get deeper into the season, we start to see teams prepare for Brick and try to adjust to those adjustments. The first team that tried adjusting got their 7-foot center bodied on the opening play. That team was none other than Mississippi Valley, and the pick and roll was starting to look real effective against them. Now, this team was playing super physical, but Brick was all for it, as we can see him hustling to grab boards, dunking on multiple defenders, really making things look dumb easy for himself as he laughs when the opposing teams need timeouts to readjust. But no matter how many timeouts were called, the pick and roll game was killing this Mississippi team, and Brick was just getting started as he continuously found himself hanging on the rim for more and more dunks. A crazy sight as a defender bit on a pump fake, knowing damn well he doesn't shoot that, as Brick walks in for an easy slam. Brick was really doing whatever he wanted, when he wanted, to who he wanted, how he wanted in that paint. The footwork was still shining through as he continued to take it to much taller players. Unfortunately, no matter how hard he played and how many players he embarrassed, the team went out taking an L. Brick scored his first ever 20-point game and cleaned up with 11 boards. Still a tough L to take, especially putting up numbers like that. Now, I will say that Brick did continue to put up numbers like that and kept that same level of play all the way until the end of the regular season, which landed the team in the SWAC tournament finals for the title. Not only that, but Brick was crowned with some honors, first being named the SWAC Men's Basketball Player of the Year and the SWAC Conference Defensive Player of the Year, averaging 11 points, 9 boards, 1 assist, 1 steal, and 1 block per game. Low numbers for sure, but you just had to be there to see it. Now, this SWAC championship game was against Alabama A&M, who were no slouches this year, and Texas Southern were the highly rated favorites for a reason, and that was only due to LeBrick slaughtering this conference time and time again. At this point in Brick's career, y'all know if he doesn't win the jump ball, that opening play is going to get shut down immediately, and that's how the tone was set for this championship game. Snatch block to start the game, and it kept going from there. The experience that Brick had gained from playing this year was on display as he continuously showed that he could finish over much taller players, effortlessly at that. Grabbing rebounds was no problem for him with his wide frame. His strength was unmatched, and everyone was trying to figure out different ways to stop him, but he always seemed to come back with a different way to score and get rebounds. It was almost as if he was performing magic out there on the court, because no matter what the other team did, he always ended up having his way. Needless to say, this was Brick's year in the SWAC, and I'm not sure if there was a better player than him in that conference, and everything he earned that season, he deserved. Brick led Texas Southern to a big victory that night, and this was a great way to end off the season as SWAC champions. Luckily, that's not where Brick's first year in college ends. For winning their conference, Texas Southern was headed to March Madness. Now, this level of play was something he hadn't seen too often. Of course, Texas Southern played some heavy hitters during the regular season, but this was totally different. This was going to take a different level of focus and dedication from Brick and the team, especially when it was announced that Texas Southern would be facing Purdue in the first round of March Madness. The shock that went through everybody's body when they heard the news was crazy. There was no way a SWAC team would have to face off against one of the top schools in the country first round. It is what it is when it came to Brick. He was still locked in and was ready to take on the world. Only problem is there were 9 other players out on the court with him, and he could only affect the game so much. Now, the good news is there were going to be a lot of eyes on this game, and if Brick went out there and performed the way he had done the entire season, there could be talks of going pro. Granted, he wasn't really thinking too much about it, but it was definitely possible, as we've seen it happen with a lot of today's superstars. His mama was definitely blowing up his phone, and so was the rest of the family once they heard who the team was facing. And they were all giving him love, but it was time to show and prove. And like I said, it was really no bad side to this game for Brick. He personally just wanted to win real bad. Yes, sir. The boys getting off the bus, chat. It's time for March Madness. Oh, my goodness. Big Brick. All right, my boy. I see you. Wave at the fans. Let them know. Oh, my gosh. And we might not recognize who these boys is, but in this next clip, that big, tall Asian man right there is none other than Zach Edey and the Purdue Boilermakers. Here we go, Brick. You got a tough one today. Chat, they better get real limber out here, because, Lord, Zach, if you don't know who Zach Edey is, the man is 7'4". Let's just say that. Brick ain't seen nothing like this. This really about to be David versus Goliath, chat. Oh, and it's the key matchup. Lord Jesus, somebody help him. But either way, you gotta sing it for the one time. Jump ball, get it, get it. Jump ball, get it. Oh Lord. Let's go and get into it, man. This Purdue team is stacked. They already starting off pulling it. Okay. All right, on the fast break like that. Okay. Hold on, Texas Southern. We got to get into this game. We got to turn up a little bit. Oh, my goodness, the switch up. Getting his own board, Mr. Cleanup Man over Zach Edey. I like that. We starting to see this work come through. That off season, the regular season. My boy got a lot of experience. I don't know what to tell you. Right here is Zach. Oh, my goodness, but give me that block. They just throwing us around like rag dolls, Chad. I don't know what to tell you. Oh, my goodness. Wide open for the 3. Miss. What a board. Way to come in, because we was not grabbing that. But on the fast break, you see the speed difference, and this is what I'm talking about. That athleticism. You love to see it, that pick and roll game. Time and time again. Wait a minute. Throw it down. He too little. Hell he talking about? What he doing under that rim? I like it. Pick and roll again, this time against Zach Edey, and he's just too slow. He's not agile enough. He couldn't turn around quick enough. By the time he turned around, Brick was in the earth. And look at Zach coming right back. Oh, my goodness. Great defense, though. I like that. Get the board, pass it up, 10 points, 5 boards, and wait a minute. On the fast break again, Zach Edey can't chase him down, and that's what you love to see. Great contest. Luckily, it was a long board. And look at Brick already out on transition. But look at the score, mind you. It's 43-60. Brick pick up the ball like, let me just take over the game since you can't keep control of the ball. Personal victories right here, chat. That's all we looking for. Zach Edey, tough shot over Brick with take. How we do that? Drop step. Okay, I like to see it. Mismatch. Yeah, that's me. Right here, box out. Teammate luckily grabs the rebound. We ain't got to do everything. And then just outrunning Zach Edey again. It's so unfair. I don't know, man. If Brick decides to go pro, I don't know how fast he's going to be against pro players. You know what I'm saying? We definitely got to take that into account. And right now, I'm just showing you guys a plethora of LeBrick James offense under that rim. He's got 24 points, 7 boards, pump fake, got him out of his panty draws, and he's doing whatever he wants in that post, especially when this guy is not in the game. Like, we can't stop him. We don't want to foul him. You know what I'm saying? He's pretty efficient from the free throw line. This is all he can do. And luckily, we ain't going to see too many 7'4". Well, damn, I forgot about Wemby. Oh, Lord. We might have a problem with Wemby. That's going to be one to watch right there, grabbing his 10th board. And again, just running down the court, doing what he wants. But unfortunately, Purdue is just too strong for Texas Southern. And chat, this is where March Madness ends for LeBrick and Texas Southern. Purdue, congratulations, whatever, blah, 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 sportsmanship, all that bull. But, guys, you guys let me know down in the comment section, man. What do y'all think is next for LeBrick? What do y'all want to see happen? And we're going to let the story play out just like that. LeBrick's season was over, but to his surprise, things were just popping off for him. Shout out to his family for providing the support he would need, because Brick was prepared to go another season at Texas Southern, but because his last name is what it is, he was advised to go ahead and enter his name into the NBA draft with an agent. This would turn out to be the best thing for him because he was still unsure on what exactly to do. But let's be honest, he led his conference and the NCAA in rebounds and in shot percentage. And even though he was super undersized for his position, with the help of his family, NBA scouts wanted to try out the James effect. First thing first, he needed to get prepared for the NBA Combine game, where he was told that he needed to put his best foot forward and really show scouts why they should take a chance on him, even though he was undersized. This was going to either make him a solid first-round pick or an undrafted player, because now he was able to put on a show against higher caliber players, unlike he was able to do at Texas Southern. So after LeBrick completely destroyed the physical part of the combine, like the vertical test and the bench press, it was time to see if he could hang with the guys coming into the NBA with hopes of being drafted. Now remember, these guys played at a much higher level than LeBrick, so coming out and performing well would definitely help his case. Nevertheless, his first highlight comes off a loose ball where he quickly picked the ball up, got into scoring position, and put the first points for his team on the board. It was an easy, wide open layup, and he got back on defense like nothing happened. One great thing about being so small as a center for LeBrick was he was going to go to the free throw line a lot, and luckily for this story, he was a fairly consistent free throw shooter. So while he wasn't making or taking those jumpers, the scouts could see he was at least efficient from the free throw line, and he was getting there a lot due to his effectiveness on the board and allowing the offense second chance opportunities. One thing about the NBA level is they love the pick and roll, and due to Brick's speed and athleticism, they ran the pick and roll a lot. His big body frame allowed him to set big bodies, putting the defense way out of position, which usually meant someone was getting an easy shot up. That would usually be LeBrick 9 times out of 10, or if the ball handler kept it and missed his take, Brick comes in and cleans up the mess no problem. This was happening far too often during this game, and no one could stop him. We even see Brick with a putback dunk that really got the scouts nodding their heads in approval and writing his name down. I think the thing that impressed the scouts more than that was his build. He was a big body, super strong, athletic build, and to keep it PG, he was too strong for centers trying to guard him. Thinking that his height was going to be the reason he failed was his opponent's downfall. Getting left on an island with him was the worst thing that could happen to their draft stock. And in a more shocking turn of events, we actually see LeBrick pull up for a jumper, and to everyone's surprise, he made it. Granted, it was the only one he took, but you got to know as a shooter, seeing one go in is all that it takes to boost your confidence. But none of that stood up to his last play at the combine. Going against the giant Zach Edey, he contorts his body to put up one of the greatest and one plays the scouts had seen that week. Now, you know he had to show off that personality after that one. Now, after the performance he put on at the combine, LeBrick and his camp was excited. The phones had started to ring, which meant the scouts were impressed and they wanted a shot at getting LeBrick. Now, I don't mean Brick was a top 10 pick, but after the combine, all the mock drafts had Brick going first round, and before the combine, bro was looking like a second round or worst case scenario, undrafted. While everyone in his camp was excited, they also realized while this was a good thing, they didn't know which teams to really target because they didn't know the draft order, which means we need to get into the draft lottery and see where Brick would possibly land. The lottery was over, and here were the results. With Brick being a late first round pick, it was looking like the Utah Jazz might be his destination with the 20th pick. So his camp decided to meet with those teams from the 20th pick down. He spent a lot of time in Utah talking to GMs, owners, even got out on the court to work out for the team. I don't know if putting all your eggs in one basket was the move, but his camp was definitely doing just that. And in comes more family love as the James family continues to show their support for LeBrick, offering him his first shoe deal. He of course signed with the contract, which would now make him a Puma athlete, and they were really going to put on for Brick, giving him his first media push, putting him on the forefront of the Puma campaign that year. Contract was solid as well, offering him $7 million for 5 years and incentives like winning Rookie of the Year, which would get him his own exclusive colorway. But let's fast forward to the night of the draft, and we're going to speed up to where Brick was projected to get drafted late in the first round. And as the Utah Jazz are on the clock, LeBrick and his family were waiting for his name to be called, and that didn't happen. Utah instead went for a much taller prospect, and LeBrick was hurt for sure. Luckily, his phone rang shortly after that, and it was the GM from New Orleans. They wanted LeBrick, and that was that. LeBrick was on the family jet headed to New Orleans with a huge smile on his face, and it was contract signing time, and New Orleans was only offering 2 years at $5.36 million, and this is where all the issues with the organization and the James family began. Brick's camp urged him to not sign the contract, but against their wishes, he went ahead and signed it anyway because, to be fair, he was just happy to be on the team, which leads us to the Summer League, where he would have the chance to show the organization his skills even further. So the first game of the Summer League, and this was it. Brick was one step closer to the league, and he wasn't out here to make no friends, only to dominate. First play of the Summer League is a backdoor lob to Brick, and he throws it down effortlessly. It was time to put in that work. Next play, Kyra throws up some trash, and Brick is right there to clean it up, showing off his rebounding and ball hawking skills for the New Orleans fans in attendance. Brick backing down a much taller defender, showing off his footwork in the post, putting up a tough shot over the outstretched arm of the 7-foot defender. Head above the rim played as the pick and roll works to perfection. Brick goes upstairs and throws down another one. Right place at the right time as the defenders double a driving guard. Brick is left wide open on the opposite side and cashes in another easy bucket. Getting into the next game, Brick is getting to the rim for an easy bucket to get the Pelicans on the board first against Phoenix. Next play, Kyra throws a dot over multiple defenders, and of course Brick is there to throw it down. Filling in empty space on the court, Brick shows his court awareness and speed as he quickly throws up a shot before the defender can catch up to him. And speed was the name of the game this game, as Brick is wide open again on transition, making the game look way too easy. A little defensive highlight for you guys as Brick just takes the ball from a center playing in his face, and he scoops it up, runs down the court. Kyra throws him a lob. Some goofy tried to stop it and got put in the first Summer League poster this year. Brick definitely had everyone out of their seats. With this one, it was two turn in that building for sure. Now let's fast forward to the Summer League semifinals game, and Brick was a little quiet this game as for scoring, but the way he was playing was all hustle, grabbing hella rebounds, getting sent to the line. When he needed to score, he would, and do it with virtually no one around him. He got sent to the free throw line a lot, and he made the defense pay, thinking he wasn't going to put up any points. And although this was a much quieter game from him, New Orleans came out with a win, which is what Brick wanted and needed due to the early exit in March Madness tournament. This just felt like retribution for that loss. He was super excited, and so was everyone else around him. Everything was coming together for him, and it was time to lock back in for the Summer League championship. Yes, sir, a little Summer League championship action for you guys. Here we go, chat. My man LeBrick coming out doing his thing, so you know you gotta sing it for the one time. Jump ball, get it, get it. Jump ball, get it, get it. Jump ball, get it. Oh Lord, let's go get into it, man. I'm excited. You excited? Setting that screen, coming. Oh my gosh, he dropped it. How he do that? I don't know. I call it dope boy magic, but here we go. Back at it again, giving it to Kyra. Rolling off that young man, pump fake, got him in the air. And I like that. Already got 4 points, 2 boards, 1 assist. And look at the fast break take. Oh, getting his own board. Hey, I like the tenacity that my man's is playing with. He looking real good. And right here, give me that. And getting the board. Nice block. And then look at the trends. What are we doing here, chat? It's all right. We put it in the basket. We put it in. All right. 6 points, 6 boards. Never mind, make it 8 points, 6 boards. Fast forward is 10. Oh, my. Give me that. The athleticism. You love to see it. Setting them big bodies. He shot that. That's crazy. Getting our own board, though. Putting it right back up. And my man is looking good in chat. Here goes the drama, right? Offensive interference, but the coach actually takes my man's out, right? We were just getting back into the game, and he actually sits him out for the rest of the game. End up losing 90-87. I don't know what's about to happen, but stay tuned in to the story for it. They took LeBrick out late in the third, and he never played in the fourth, was all that was on LeBrick and his camp's mind. No way did they give him even an opportunity to have a chance at winning that game. He was sick, and that really spoiled the journey for him, but one thing he learned quickly was that he couldn't worry about what happened right then. He needed to move on and look ahead, as it was time to rest up for a bit and get back to training, getting prepared for the NBA season. Now, unfortunately for LeBrick, this is where his time with the New Orleans Pelicans would end, as he gets a call from the team letting him know that he was being waived and would no longer be a part of the team. I mean, what a slap in the face, right? Not only was he robbed of a chance to win Summer League, but now it looked as if he had no future in the NBA at all. Being waived after the performance he gave was insane. Like, I could understand trading him, but to waive him was nuts. And all they told him on the phone was that they were going in a different direction. The pain that he felt from this was devastating, and Brick didn't know how to deal with the pain. Back home in California, Brick was back in his old stomping grounds, and it felt good to get away from the hustle of the league. He turned his phone off, and this was some of the best peace he found.
Nah, New Orleans f***ed up for dropping you like that.
I'm not even tripping.
Well, you should be. If it was me, I definitely would have crashed out.
There's no point for real. Basketball was a dream. I guess I'm back in reality now.
Yeah, and I already got some shit planned for us.
Already? You must have known this basketball shit wasn't gonna work, huh?
Nah, a whole hood believed in you. You just can't control everything, you feel me?
Yeah, I feel you. I still wanted to be a part of that shit, though.
Keep your head up. Life is too short to be worried about that. Right now, though, I'm about to go make a play. Gotta keep pushing, Brick. It's too much money out here.
Alright, fool.
Yeah.
Crazy how in one moment someone can tell you life is too short, and the next second it comes true for him. LeBrick didn't take his friend's last words for granted, and you know what? Troubled times don't last always, bro. At next month, before the season was set to begin, LeBrick's camp got word that a team was interested in speaking with Brick. A team that was always interested and made a terrible mistake. This team told Brick to his face that they apologized, and the route they took was a dumb one. After seeing what he proved for New Orleans in the Summer League, they knew they had a chance to make things right, especially after New Orleans fumbled who they thought was the clear Rookie of the Year. Now, they weren't making any promises to Brick, and they told him straight up he would be coming off the bench to provide a strong second presence down low. They were also very transparent about the fact that he would be playing the center position as well as the power forward position as needed. Considering they already had a very impactful young 7-foot center, they wanted Brick to fill in the gaps when needed. And after all that had happened, Brick was ready to go, and I'm pleased to say that the team that was making up for their mistake was none other than the Utah Jazz. I would like to only say good things about LeBrick, but we all know his past and the role he played in his neighborhood. There was something I forgot to tell you guys that happened before Brick went off to Utah, and it's kind of important before we get into the rest of the story.
So how you want to handle this?
You know I'm thinking about sliding. Crash out.
Now you know you can't do that.
Why not? I'm not on no team and ain't nobody calling.
But what if they do? Then what?
I guess I'll worry about that when the time comes. All I need to know right now is who did it.
I've been asking around, and word is this nigga Miles and his homies from the north side set bruh up.
Say less.
No shit. If it isn't LeBrick James, how them hoop dreams treating you?
Shit, I don't know about dreams, but I can guarantee you this about to be a nightmare for all you niggas.
And what you gonna do with that?
Hello?
Yo, Britt, I need to see you down in my office. I got some great news.
Bet.
You won't believe this, but the Utah Jazz wants to set up a meeting with you.
Man, f the Utah Jazz.
Oh no, now I thought you'd be excited about this. This is what we wanted all along, right?
They're 3 months too late, don't you think?
Listen, I'm not trying to be rude, but you should be thankful the team is calling. The goal was to get to the league. The least you could do is hear them out.
Hell nah, if they wanted me, they would have taken me like they said they would in the first place.
Now is not the time to be stubborn.
Man, I got a lot going on. My homie just died, if you haven't heard. I just got released from a team for no reason. I think I'll pass.
Come on, Rick, don't do this.
Britt was going through a tough time, getting released from New Orleans, the death of his homie, and sliding for his homie. This was a lot that happened, but we're past that time for now, and we can get back to the present day where Brick has been locked in the gym, putting in work for the long season ahead of him. Everything that happened back home, he wanted to forget about it and fill his time with getting better. Working on his post game, getting his footwork better, finding his spot under the rim was going to help him be the most efficient player he could be, considering he couldn't really stretch the floor. Not only was he working on this, but he was working on ways to get to the basket off the dribble, and he was definitely learning. With all of his new techniques in his bag, he was becoming more and more confident that he was going to be impactful out on the court. But let's get into the season. Huge opportunity for Brick to show his skills and what he's been working on against the Lakers, LeBron, and Anthony Davis. Now, as you guys know, coming in as a rookie, there are going to be some welcome to the NBA moments, and Brick was more than grateful to get his out of the way. Unfortunately, his teammates will be the one on the receiving end as AD posters John Collins on a crazy lob. Usually this would strike fear in a rookie, but this just made Brick want to get involved. Starting off with a dominant dunk in the paint. I knew we were going to see the pick and roll this game, but what I didn't think I would see is Brick popping out for a three-pointer. Well, he set his feet, took a deep breath, and threw one up. To my surprise and all the coaching staff on both sides, he made it. Not trying to show his excitement, he just waved to the crowd and got back on defense. His shooting performance wouldn't stop there as he got to the line a lot that night. But Brick was on a mission, which would be completed. The same way he handled his get back in the streets is the same way he got AD back sliding for John Collins. A poster from Brick to AD was the perfect way to cap off this game, beating the Lakers. Brick finished with a 12-point double-double and a few blocks that game. It was good for the rookie to be facing such tough teams so early on. He now knew what it was going to take every night to walk out of the arena with a win. Back at home in LA, and the streets were buzzing, and not because Brick was hooping, but nevertheless, Brick was home and his folks were in the press box watching to see what he was going to do for the crowd. First play was an easy dump down to Brick for a dunk, and it was back on defense. Speaking of defense, Brick was getting some amazing blocks in this game. The first one was against Harden that he sent to the stands and then stared Harden down. The one after that was against Paul George, but both blocks was a great display of his jumping ability. But where he really shined was under that rim, showing off the great footwork he had been working on, getting and-ones and hyping his home team fans up. And you already know the lobs were being thrown in Lob City, of course, as you see Brick still showing off, hanging on that rim, almost getting a tech call. Then under the rim, PJ Tucker found himself in a bad spot on a LeBrick James poster as Brick throws it down in Tucker's face. He had the arena rocking at that point and everyone wanted to see more, bodying up Kawhi, letting him know he needed to get in that weight room. Then taking Kawhi and Paul George on a spin as he makes them both look foolish with an easy layup. James Harden gets caught on LeBrick Island as he babies him in the post, and you know we can't get out of here without seeing Brick catch another body like he does so well in LA, rising up over Zubac for another nasty lob poster, and needless to say, Brick brought the house down with that one, walking out with another win and another double-double on the night. One game that we had to talk about was the matchup against Giannis and Brick, with Brick starting off showing why this is a game that can't be skipped. Block after block, even against Giannis, was not backing down against his much taller opponent. Even on offense, Brick is taking it straight to Giannis, trying to get him in foul trouble. But Giannis wasn't backing down either, as the two were putting on a show in the paint. Giannis exposing Brick's height, grabbing rebounds over him, and making the putback look easy. It was just tit for tat this game, as Brick comes back with a tough layup over Giannis, showing off his agility. This was really a battle for the ages, because neither Brick nor Giannis was willing to give up, and the competition between the two really just made the game all about them. But Brick's footwork was really on display, as he is hyping up his team during the game after every shot. Again, showing the work he was putting in, taking a Lopez brother off the dribble and slamming it down over Giannis. Big bodying Bobby Portis in the post, letting him know he might be small, but he was too strong. Shouldering his chest. Easy layup. Then the craziest thing happened as Giannis went up for a dunk. Brick comes out of nowhere and blocks it so hard the ball bounces off of Giannis's face and goes in. But that was a telling set of events. Even though Brick put in that work, it wasn't enough to secure a win. This game, he put up his first 20-point double-double. It still wasn't enough. Another non-skip game is against 7'4" Victor Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs. Much like the game against Giannis, Brick came in on some other shit. Starting off the game with a snatch block is crazy, and Brick was crazy enough to do it. The way he came out with no pre-notions on who the players were, bruh just didn't care. Even getting a block against Victor really set the tone for how the rest of this game was going to go, but Brick wasn't the only one going crazy. Victor Wembanyama was taking the lead by storm at this time, and against Brick, it was no different. It seemed like every time the two were against each other, Vic was sending all Brick shots back. Not only that, but who was going to stop Vic every time? No one really could. He could shoot lights out or dominate under the basket, and Brick couldn't be everywhere at once or stop him every single time. So you know Victor got his shots up, but luckily for Utah and Brick, Victor would have to take a break. And when he did, that's when Brick would go to work in the paint. And who would have thought? The amount of mismatches Brick would have was wild. Getting to the basket was looking easy when Victor wasn't in the game, which got Brick heated up. And once Brick got going, even when Vic came back into the game, Brick found ways to get around him, proving that he could be an effective pro. But unfortunately, it just wasn't in the cards for Brick to win this game. No doubt, it was a great performance, putting up another 20-point double-double.
Brick, you've been working your ass off, and we coming up to my favorite time of the NBA season.
Yeah, what's that?
First of all, it's money time. Second of all, it's All-Star Weekend, which means the bitches gonna be out, dawg.
Hey, you a fool.
But seriously, congratulations are in order. All-Star Weekend is going to be held in Utah, and you're on the list to participate.
Yeah, I know about the rookie versus sophomore game and the dunk contest, but what else is there?
Well, some guys didn't want to play in the All-Star game, and your name is on the list.
Say word?
Word. And not only that, but you know they give out some bread for this. So that means it's time for you to get that car you always wanted.
Hey, who said dreams don't come true? Who would have thought non-shooting, super undersized Brick was going to make it this far? And my boy was definitely enjoying the moment. Giannis, out of all people, chose Brick as his teammate for the All-Star game, and it made sense. He knew Brick was going to go out there and compete. But before we get into the All-Star game, Brick had to put the NBA on notice of who the best rookie in the game was. Coming into the game, Brick was off to a fast start, already grabbing a board and going straight back up to put his team on the board first. It doesn't stop there as he grabs another offensive rebound and puts Goofy in a poster. And down the court on a fast break, Brick sends a ball to the fans on a monstrous block. Another block showing off his vert off the backboard into his teammate's hand. Fast break, and Brick not only dunks the ball, but he hangs upside down on the rim, letting the Utah fans know they were here for a show. Footwork in the paint on a pump fake got his defender lost, and of course he slams it down. Another board, and he goes right back up for a reverse dunk. Then another board on the offensive end and another body. Crazy behind the head pass from Cade Cunningham, and Brick finished it off with another dunk. Amazing performance that night, and of course they got the dub, but the MVP had to go to Brick, who was really the showstopper that night. But Brick was really excited for the dunk contest. He was one of the highest, most athletic players in the league right now, and on his first attempt, he was already making the arena rock, bringing the props out, and a crazy high between the legs dunk got him a score of 48. His second attempt, he wanted to go higher, bringing out a player from the stands. He just runs, jumps cleanly over the player, putting the ball between his legs. Big aggressive dunk. The judges might have lowballed him here because they only gave him a 44 for this one. And after 2 rounds, it was a tie between him and Ja Morant at 92 points apiece, and Brick wanted to go even higher. On this third attempt, he brings out 2 players, tosses the ball, takes off for another crazy dunk. This time, the judges were being super haters and only gave Brick 41 points on the dunk, which means Brick had to sit back and see what Ja was going to do. Ja did a weak dunk that wasn't too difficult if you ask me, and the judges gave him a 43. Bro, that means Ja ends up beating Brick by 3 points for the dunk title, and this is why everyone says Brick was cheated in this dunk contest. But it was time for the moment we were all waiting for, and Brick was super excited. This was his first All-Star appearance, and he wanted to make sure it wouldn't be his last. Checking into the game was a feeling like none other at this point in his career, and honestly, Brick was just excited to be there.
First off, let me start by saying rest in power to my GOAT, LeGoat James. I grew up watching that brother play, and the way he changed basketball will live on forever through the legacy that he left us. And speaking of that legacy, I want to talk about my Rookie of the Year, LeBrick James. Now, I know those are bold statements, but the way this brother is coming in and impacting the game and making it look effortless is outstanding. You know, people mentioning that he can't shoot the ball, he can't do this, he can't do that. Well, let's talk about what he can do, and it's proven. His short stature would have you thinking he can't hang with the 7-foot centers in the league, but he can. And not only can he, but he dominates. And although today is a sad day because we lost one of the greatest to ever do it, it's also a bittersweet day because one of his very own is making headlines. And Stephen A. Smith is here to tell you that LeBrick James is going to be just as great as all of his family members before him and those that came after him. R.I.P. LeGoat James. May your legacy live on forever.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, please let us know what your verdict is.
We find the defendant, LeBrick James.
So you're probably wondering how we got here. Well, in order to tell this part of the story, we need to go back about 2 months before we got to this point. LeBrick was entering the postseason after being named the Rookie of the Year and the Defensive Player of the Year. LeBrick was on a high that he couldn't be taken down from. The team loved him, and they were looking to him to help bring home a play-in win as Utah headed into the postseason. The play-in game against New Orleans, and the world definitely wanted to see Zion versus LeBrick, and they were in for a show. LeBrick coming in as the Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year. Everyone wanted to see how things were going to play out. The anticipation from the warm-ups and the jump ball all led to this. Of course, you know Brick had to start off showing off his athleticism in the paint, throwing down a monstrous dunk, and hang it on the rim to get things started. This was his intimidation tactic that he would use on all his opponents, and early on, it was looking as if it was going to work. Being able to muscle his defenders for easy putbacks on the offensive board was making the defense tired of trying to figure out where he was on the court, which leads him to hitting a very unusual jumper that really had the defense confused. Again, on the offensive board, taking advantage of the overexerted New Orleans defense to get a score. Then he shows off his new ability to score off the dribble, catching the defense on their back foot, putting up yet another easy bucket. Needless to say, Utah came away with the win and advanced to the playoffs, where in round one they take on a very tough opponent in Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors, whom they defeated in convincing fashion. And I think we all can see that Brick was excited to get out of that arena as fast as possible. And as Brick would learn quickly, the playoffs only get tougher every round, trying to set the tone for the Western Conference Finals against LeBron chasing his 5th ring. Getting this block let the Lakers know that it wasn't going to be an easy series, which got the team fired up as Brick throws down a tough dunk with AD right behind him. But AD had a response for everything Brick did and some, throwing down a dunk of his own, then coming right back down, making a tough layup over the much smaller Brick. But Brick was fighting and would respond moments later with an easy layup. The Lakers, being a veteran team that's been in the playoff situations before, was really taking it to the young Utah team. Bucket after bucket, they were flooding this inexperienced team every chance they got. Brick will respond with a nasty poster on a much smaller defender though, and then he hit what should have been an and one play over LeBron. But the Lakers were just too powerful for Brick to handle. It came out swinging and won their first game on the road in Utah, which was demoralizing for the team. He really felt like he let the team down. Unfortunately, game 2 wouldn't be any different for the Jazz. The Lakers were looking to sweep Utah if they weren't careful, and this is when Brick would have to pull himself and his team up if they wanted a chance to advance to the NBA Finals. Luckily for Utah, Brick had some more fight in him as they managed to turn the series around, go to a game 7 where it was a win or go home situation for both teams. And game 7 was one of them games for the ages. Brick was locked in from the jump ball, throwing up hella pump fakes, keeping AD on his toes, making a heavily contested shot. Then coming right back doing the same thing, switching up the shot. Crazy take, but it went in. Around about the time when everyone in the stadium knew he was blacked out, unstoppable, slamming the ball down, beating his defenders, getting to the line, making easy buckets. Even when the subs came in, he continued to show his dominance, backing them down, shouldering their chest, easy bucket underneath, grabbing boards as soon as they come off the rim, going to the other side and throwing it down. It was like, what could he not do at this point? And the Lakers, LeBron, AD just didn't have an answer for the Rookie and Defensive Player of the Year, as Brick throws it down with Braun right there trying to stop him. But time ran out for the Lakers as they couldn't mount a comeback, and Brick ran off with the game and the Western Conference. If you would have told Brick back in high school he would win Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, and the Western Conference Finals all in his first year in the NBA, he probably would have snuck you. But here he is, standing with his team, holding up that trophy, proud. But all wasn't good. Back home, things were starting to come to light. Snitches were making their way out of their holes with jealousy of Brick's success, and things were starting to grow. The DA wanted to know who was responsible for the deaths of 2 black males whose bodies were left in the street. You see, the DA was up for election, and this would be his final opportunity to show the community that he was the right guy for the job, and he was willing to do whatever it took to get the person responsible for the killings. And the more he was digging, the more information he was finding. The more he offered pardons and lesser sentences for those already incarcerated, the more information he was getting. The case that he was building up started to become more than just one murder. It was becoming a life goal for the DA. He was on a mission that was going to have someone serving the rest of their lives in prison, and it was going to get him the election win he was so desperate for. Speaking of desperate wins, Brick and Utah were in the NBA Finals, and Miami was desperately looking for a way to stop Brick. Game 1, and Brick was not messing around with these goofies as he starts the game with a huge block, disrespecting the Miami Heat fans as the ball goes flying past their faces. And then Brick got into his offensive bag that would have him on ESPN highlights for the rest of eternity, whether it was off the dribble, cutting back door. He always seemed to be in the right place at the right time, making a play. This series, he was really showing off his quick dribbles to the basket, making things look way too easy under that rim. Even seeing him have more confidence in his jumper, popping out on a pick and pop, nothing but net. He was way too slippery this game, going back door again, this time for a lob over 2 defenders. Somehow Kyle Lowry gets caught up in the mix. Finally, someone smaller than Brick that he can easily bully for a quick 2 points. Even taller defenders like Capella couldn't handle the elusive LeBrick James, and it was just bucket after bucket for him. And Brick was now averaging 16 points per game in the playoffs, and game 1 goes to Utah in Miami. And game 2 was no different than game 1, making the series 2-0 in favor of Utah. But check out how game 3 would end with seconds left in the game. Miami has the lead. Jimmy Butler is trying to dribble out the clock, but Brick wasn't going for it as he comes up, rips the ball off Jimmy, transition, leading to an easy bucket for Brick with seconds left on the clock. Utah fans were super loud in that building that night as Brick does the impossible, making this series 3-0 in game 4 at home in Utah. It was all but over for Miami. Brick knew what it was going to take to win this game, getting started with a tough and one to set the tone in this possible sweep. And you would not believe your eyes if you didn't see it, but Brick pops out for a 3-pointer and it was money. At this point, if you're at Miami, you must know it's over. Brick only attempted like 3 3-pointers all season, and on his 3rd attempt is in the finals and he makes it against you. Might as well pack it up. Not only that, you get punched on. Your center, who's much taller than him, is lost in the sauce as he gets more easier buckets than before. Even Bam couldn't slow him down, sending him to the line on the and 1 play. Countless times seeing Brick under the basket not being guarded. Contest coming in too late. He's too fast and too strong for the tiring defenders. Reverse dunks, easy dunks, making your center look like the smaller player, and that was enough. Brick has somehow went from a no-name undersized center to the #1 center in the world, winning his first NBA title in his first year in the NBA. He was special. This was a special moment for Brick and the entire organization in Utah. It was almost like a dream. Too bad we have to eventually wake up from those dreams. You see, the DA had gathered all of his evidence, all of the witnesses, and those willing to testify, and LeBrick was officially arrested. There was no bond set due to the extremities of his charges. Brick wasn't interested in talking to the feds once he was brought in. Absolutely no deals would be made. And here we are, fast forwarding 6 years into the future, because it took 5 years to start the trial and 1 full year to complete the trial, and it was time to announce the verdict. And the verdict was guilty on all counts. Brick's life was over. What was kept under wraps was that they really wanted his mother and his OGs and were willing to cut him a deal in exchange for the information he would be able to provide, but instead, he took the rap for a RICO charge. He told investigators that everything that happened was his own doing. No one else had anything to do with it, and he wouldn't budge from that statement. Needless to say, Brick spent the rest of his life behind bars. And the crazy part was, he was fine with it. Brick would go down as one of the greatest centers to ever touch the floor and one of the greatest gangsters to ever do it. Was I entering the NFL draft or not? That was the question on everyone's mind, and the funny thing was, I had no clue myself. I wasn't completely sure if my age would be a factor or not, but the only way to find out was to go ahead and see. Apparently the first step was to get an agent, and I had no clue where to start until my favorite